I'm Dan Rosenberg,
And I'm Stephanie Shelton.
and we're excited to welcome you to 11 Minutes with Octane 11, a B2B marketing mini podcast. This is a chance to talk with experts in B2B marketing about the real challenges and real solutions in this complicated space in just 11 minutes. Because no one has time to listen to long form podcasts, least of all B2B marketers who are using more tools than ever and are under more pressure than ever to deliver breakthrough messaging and real business impact. Today, we're super excited to be talking with Nicole Silver, a longtime friend and experienced B2B marketer. She's currently leading marketing at Volta Charging, a fascinating company and a really exciting space. And she's also had some great marketing roles at other tech companies. And she's been an Ad Age 40 Under 40 honoree. So I'm really been looking forward to this conversation. So here we go. We only have 11 minutes. It's not a lot of time. So let's just jump into it. First, Nicole, please tell us a little bit about your background and what you've been working on these days.
Great. Dan, Stephanie, thanks so much for having me today. I'm thrilled to be here. So, a little bit about me. I started my career on Capitol Hill, and that may seem very far away and long ago, but I learned some things there that have been really critical to my career as a marketer. The first is how to really get to know your audience and tell a story that will resonate with them, thinking about somebody in a community versus a legal scholar. Different message is going to resonate with them. And it's the same today, thinking about different stakeholders in a B2B sales cycle, how to work with anyone to get things done, regardless of political party or where they came from. Very relevant today. Partners in the ecosystem, partners across the company. And last but not least, the power of technology and how much of an impact it's had on consumers and businesses. And those have really stuck with me throughout my career in marketing. I've spent the last decade in advertising technology and marketing technology, building marketing organizations and high growth businesses, Moat, which we sold to Oracle, Button, mobile commerce, and then the last 3 years at Volta, which, as you mentioned, is a few things, primarily an electric vehicle charging company, as well as a digital out of home media company, which is now part of the Shell Group.
Fascinating. Well, at some point, we'll have to catch up on how you transitioned out of Capitol Hill into ad tech. But for today, I would love to get started just given your background on what are some of the biggest challenges you've seen in B2B marketing and go-to-market motions overall?
Sure. So, B2B marketing and especially enterprise B2B marketing can have a lot of different elements. A recent study that I read said that it can take over 50 touch points in a B2B sales cycle. And then when I add my layer to it, that's 50 touch points across how many people? In a lot of the companies that I've worked with in a customer journey in a B2B sales cycle, it might be 5 or even more stakeholders. And so being thoughtful and strategic about that matrix of how you're reaching different people in the journey and what each of their considerations and needs are is really complicated. And so that's really, I think, what I would say that a big challenge in B2B is that it's complex and it's not only one thing. And so I've seen different ways to do that, different ways to think about it and really prioritize. And then of course, relevant as we're talking and thinking about Octane 11, how do you track that? How do you measure the impact of B2B marketing from influence to direct attribution? Because going back to all of those stakeholders, there may be some who have the direct power to get the deal done and where marketing can make a real impact, and others where it's influence. And that also matters and contributes to the outcomes we're looking to drive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you're
true.
you're speaking our language. We're talking to marketers every day about those same challenges. You mentioned in your intro the importance of technology and how rapidly that's changing and how critical it is to the jobs you do. So curious, what are some of the best tools or tactics or different vendors that you've worked with that have helped you in your career?
Sure. So first, honestly, I think that's one of the most fun parts about being in marketing today, that it is always changing, that every year, every couple months, there are new tools, whether it's new companies, new technology on the market. And I think part of my responsibility as a marketing leader is to spend time learning about them and stay abreast. For me and for us across each of my teams historically, managing creative bandwidth has always been a challenge. I've worked with some really talented designers and creative directors who are more enthusiastic about some projects than others. I've managed campaigns and initiatives and rebrands where we have a ton of creative need and then had periods where we had less. And one of the companies that we work with at Volta is called Superside. They are essentially a subscription-based design resource. And for me, that has been really game-changing to think about the way that we do design and the way that we think about getting creative work done. Think about it differently. Think about it in a way that can scale up and down and meet the creative needs that we have. And that's been a huge asset to us to be able to have a resource for predictable needs like presentation design or more creative types of projects. The other one that I would think about is just account-based marketing in general. In my time in marketing, we went from when I was at Operative, we rolled out this concept of target accounts, and it was sort of before the ABM wave. In some of my more recent companies, we formally rolled out ABM and had a lot of tech measuring it. And now I think we're sort of turning the curve that we've had so much tech, so much ABM talk that the focus on strategy and really thinking about what are you looking to achieve, at least is very much more top of mind for me. And sort of the last thing that I'll say is it's a timely question in terms of what's resonating and what tools and tactics are the strongest. I volunteer as a judge for the ANA Reggie Awards, and I'm currently in the midst of reviewing submissions. And I'm struck by one, how many campaigns are doing the exact same thing? Say influencers and TikTok, very hot right now. And then how many other unique creative applications I'm seeing that I've never seen before. So it all kind of circles back to where I started, that as marketers, we need to be learning and listening and seeing what's new and also appreciating the things that we're using.
A lot of great points in there. I agree. Like we definitely like to work with outside resources on design just to keep it fresh, new perspectives, but also being able to measure and so consistently improve and be able to take risks. So I love that. And also really good comments about ABM and the evolution there. I'm excited about the Reggie Awards. We gotta check those out. I'm excited that you're a judge there. But moving on here, what would you say in your experience as you've worked with different companies and seen other B2B companies out there, what do you think that's something that B2B marketers often get wrong?
So I have some personal beef with the term B2B marketing.
All
And
right.
it goes back to business school. The general trend, though, is that I worry when we call it B2B marketing because we're introducing it as another thing, separate thing from marketing. I really encourage us to flip the order and think about it as marketing to businesses. Then it's marketing to a specific audience and an audience that has multiple stakeholders and an audience that is people who make emotional decisions and businesses who make business decisions. And that to me, that's what marketing is, understanding an audience to attract, engage, and convert them. And so I really encourage us and every B2B marketer to think about marketing to your audience and understanding your audience and starting the focus there and pulling back from the I'm a B2B marketer, I need to be doing these tactics, or I'm a B2B marketer, I need to be running this playbook because it's different depending on your audience and your stakeholders and what their businesses are going through. And so that's my number one. Stay focused on your audience. Take a page from the standard marketing playbook and be audience first, do the research, understand the pain points. I think that's if you can make it about your customer, everything else flows from there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I like just that simple change in language, shifting of the mindset. Well, I'm curious if you had one wish for a tool or capability for marketing to B2B for businesses, what would it be?
Only one. I'll keep it contained since we only have 11 minutes. And for me, it's really a skill set. So defining the scope of marketing in a company marketing to businesses, a company selling into marketing, selling into organizations is challenging. It's different in different companies. And members of the C suite, members of the board may come in with different expectations about the role of marketing. And any marketing leader has the responsibility to really make it clear what is their role in the organization? What are the KPIs they will deliver for the business? And how's their team delivering that? And that can be really hard. It can mean some tough conversations with other members of the C suite. It can mean deciding things not to do. It can mean the triangle that I have defined before of marketing, CEO, CRO, and trade offs between brand and sales. And that's a hard thing to do. So if I could wish for one thing for B2B marketers and B2B marketers in particular, it would be the ability to do that effectively and elegantly in a way that allows the marketing function to deliver its value for the business and build and maintain the relationships that are so important with every other executive in the company.
Mm, so true. I mean, there are so many goals for the CMO, for the marketing team, and it often ends up being like a pendulum swing. Like you go so big on brand and then you lose the impact on direct sales driving activities. And then if you go the other way, you lose the brand. And you really need to keep both ideas and more ideas in your head at one time. A great point.
And then also the market. What's going on in your market? Is there a new competitive set? Are your customers strapped
Mm,
for budget? All of that will so much shape where it makes sense for marketing to be investing. And your role as a CMO, as a marketing leader, may be to educate the rest of your peers about that so they understand why you're making these choices and can be a partner in them.
mm. So good. So, given all that, what would you say is a recent win that you've had? Either in that kind of challenge or maybe something else in marketing or just something in life?
Sure. So for me, one of the things that makes me the most proud is watching my team succeed. And recently, a member of my team had a big campaign and initiative that she was working on and was faced with a limitation. The writer that she usually worked with wasn't available. And so she took a risk. She said, I wonder if I can leverage an AI based tool to deliver this piece of content in a slightly different way. And she built out an outline and worked with an editor and was able to essentially deliver a piece of work on a much shorter timeline at a significantly lower cost by leveraging this AI based tool. And the campaign is now launched and we're watching the results and they've been great. And I am so proud of her that she took the risk and she did that and set an example for the team. So that's a win in itself. I will also call it a win for me personally because it inspired me to be a little bit more forward thinking and testing out some of the new AI tools available. I'm admittedly not always the earliest of adopters. And since seeing that, I have been using AI based tools for a number of things that I'm working on day to day. One is research, it's become part of my practice instead of going to my search browser. I've started using some other approaches, asking questions, and I found that's been really valuable. Two, honestly, is personally for some of the things I'm doing personally and thinking about decorating our house. I have been using an
Mhm.
AI based tool and it's been really powerful. And so I had to use a buzzword. I'm a marketer, so had to get AI in the podcast. But really, what I'll say the win is watching my team and learning from my team and using that to become a little bit more forward thinking in how I leverage new tools and things that are available to me.
It's a great one. Well, it's amazing. It's all the time we've got. 11 minutes goes really fast and we're trying to keep it brief, but I learned a lot. Just a couple of things we touched on, like the learnings from Capitol Hill, how to tell a story, how to work with partners, the B2B marketing journey at 50 touch points across 5 or more stakeholders, the fun part of marketing about just learning new technologies all of the time, the challenges of managing creative bandwidth, calling out some vendors like Superside is a great one, and some ABN vendors, and the shift we've seen from like some of the meat and potatoes of ABM to getting into the real focus on strategy. Shout out for the A&A Reggie Awards that you're a judge. I'm excited to check those out. I love your twist on beef with B2B marketing, but thinking more about it as marketing for B2B and just it's marketing, but just focusing on the right audiences before you figure out the tools, I think is a great mental model for that. The complexity of B2B marketing or marketing for B2B, choosing the right KPIs, the right goals, and balancing between sales goals and brand goals and other goals. And then finally, this win about empowering your team and the lessons learned to test new things and keep pushing forward. So, some great nuggets in there. I really appreciate you sharing all that. So, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been great to be on here, and I look forward to seeing the episodes from some of your other guests.
It's so great. We've got an amazing lineup of B2B marketers and experts up on deck. So definitely check out the episodes at octane11.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And thanks for listening.
See you soon.